Hello, this is Mrs. Fontanes. This is our PowerPoint concerning cell structure. We're going to be having a quiz. It'll be Thursday for periods 1 through 4, and it'll be Friday for those periods 5 through 8. So, for those of you who missed the class or who could not hear me in Google Classroom, I have made this recording. Cells, the basic structure and function of all living organisms. Well, looking at the basic structure, if you haven't done this already, go ahead and copy this. You're going to fill in this chart, and then you're going to take a picture of it and email it to me. Well, here we go. So this is the basic structure. There are 4 basic structures. First one, DNA. That's the nucleic acid that contains the genetic information for heredity in most organisms. The next thing, the second thing that all cells have are ribosomes. These produce protein for the cell. The third one is the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is this clear stuff. It's actually almost like a liquid or jelly substance that supports and protects the organelles in the cell. And cell membrane. That is the outside of the cell, almost like your skin, okay? Your skin covers your body. Well, the cell membrane covers the cell. It's a protective layer, and it controls what enters and what leaves the cell. So, take a moment to pause this video, and when you're done copying all of this, then you send me an email to my name at fwisd.org. You can pause it now. And this is what one student has sent me. Looks very good. All right, well, the discovery of the cell. 400 years ago, scientists began using microscopes, and a man named Robert Hooke, he cut a slice of the outside of a tree. That's the tree part. And he looked at it through this very early microscope. And he saw little chambers or rooms, something that reminded him of the tiny rooms in a monastery. And over there, they call them cells. So this is the tree bark, and this is what he saw. Well, now we know a little bit more. There are 2 types of cells. There are these prokaryotes. Let me see if we can see that a little better. Here we go. Here's a prokaryote. And we have the eukaryotes. Very different. We're going to look at that. Well, prokaryotes versus eukaryotes. Well, the prokaryotes, and I'm going to bring this down also just a little bit so you can see the whole thing. Prokaryotes, they have no nucleus. The DNA is just scattered inside here. They have no membrane enclosed structures at all. Things are just scattered around. They are 0.1 to 10 micrometers or micrometers. Okay, now what's a micrometer? Well, it's a very small unit. You know about meters, you know about kilometers, centimeters. Well, this is a whole lot smaller, so micrometer. These are unicellular, uni means 1. Unicellular organisms, for example, archaea and bacteria. Those are 2 types of prokaryotes. Now, the other type is the eukaryotes. The eukaryotes have, as you can see, a well-defined nucleus. You can tell where the nucleus is at, and it has DNA inside there. So the DNA is in the nucleus. But not only that, but you have other little packets in here, okay? You can see the little different packets in here, different colors. All right, these are membrane enclosed organelles. Organelles like your heart, your lungs, they're very specific. For instance, the heart does not look like your lungs, and it has a different job or function. Well, the same thing with the organelles. Those are tiny organs in the cells. They look different for one another, and they have different jobs or functions. They are larger. The whole eukaryote is larger than a prokaryote. So they can be unicellular or multicellular. People, animal cells, we're made of many cells. You've got plant cells, fungi, and protists are examples of eukaryotes. Okay, so in addition, I'll be telling you when I want you to copy things. So here, organelles distinguishes prokaryotes from eukaryotes. So I want you to copy this in your notebook. Again, this is something else that you're going to be taking a picture of. So when I tell you to take notes, take notes. And copy what is in yellow. Organelles. These are structures only within eukaryotic cells that perform specific functions. For example, chloroplasts. They are important for photosynthesis. Another organelle, we've already talked about it, is the nucleus. It contains the genetic material like DNA and RNA. These are only found in eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotes do not have organelles. That's what's different between them. So make sure you copy this. You can pause this and copy it. Prokaryotes. Well, let's look at them. Remember, we said archaea and bacteria are examples of prokaryotes. Prokaryotes do have a cell wall. It protects them, but it has a plasma membrane. The plasma membrane and cell membrane are the same thing. They have the cytoplasm, and I didn't circle it, but they have a DNA. Okay, so they have the four things that they need to have basic cell structures: cell or plasma membrane, cytoplasm, ribosomes, and the DNA. Those are the four things. Prokaryotic cells, and let me bring this down, have no organelles, no nucleus. Very important to remember. Prokaryotic cells have a cell wall though. Okay? And this is a microscopic picture of a prokaryote. It has no organelles inside of it. You can see how smooth looking it is. It does have flagella. Flagellas are like a tail that help it swim. And so if you were to get sick, the doctor would use a swab. He would wipe the back of your throat, and then the laboratory, the bacteriology laboratory, I used to work in one, will take your swab and smear it on here, okay? And they would wait a few hours, maybe a day, and allow the bacteria to grow. This has a lot of nutrients for the bacteria. They will grow, and as you can see here, then little bits of it are put in a microscope scope slide, and we can view it. This is what the doctor will see. Actually, the bacteriologist would see. These are different types of bacteria, and based on what your lab results show, we would know, or your doctor would know, what infection, what you are infected with, and give you the right antibiotics. Remember, viruses are not alive, so an antibiotic would not be helpful. So that's why the doctor needs to know, hey, are you sick with a virus? Coronavirus maybe? Or is this a bacterial infection? If it's a bacterial infection, he will treat it with an antibiotic. It will kill the bacteria and you will get better. Well, here's another picture of a eukaryotic cell. Notice this is a microscopic picture of one, and you can see an organelle in here. This is the mitochondria. Over here, we also have another picture or drawing of a eukaryotic cell. And you can see the different parts of the cells. There's so many different organelles, and they have very specific jobs. But one thing that you will see, remember those 4 things we talked about? These little dots are ribosomes. You would see this little blue stuff is the cytoplasm. You will see the DNA. The DNA is in here, okay? So you would see then the cytoplasm, the DNA, the ribosomes, and the cell membrane, okay? Those are the 4 things. Eukaryotes, the prokaryotes have at least that, but the eukaryotic cells have even more. So what are some examples of eukaryotic cells? Well, one thing that I forgot to do is to highlight this, but I want you to copy this. Eukaryotes, these are examples of eukaryotes: plants, animals, fungi, and protists. And let's look at some of them. Here we have, this is a skin cell, and you can see the border here. That's the cell membrane. You can see the nucleus. Here, so this is an animal cell. Over here, this is a plant cell, and I know it's a plant cell because it has a cell wall. You can see how thick it is, okay? The cell wall. We have here fungus, okay? We have mushrooms or fungus. And then we have a single cell organism called a planaria. This is a protist. So as you can see, we have 4 examples of eukaryotes. So all eukaryotic cells have a nucleus. Remember, that's a type of organelle. Plant cells have organelles, and so do animal cells. These are both eukaryotic cells. Plant cells All right, I had a little interruption here, so hopefully I'm not repeating myself, but plant cells have organelles. They also have a cell wall. So they have a nucleus, they have a cell wall. Well, let's look at the animal cell. The animal cell also have organelles. You can see the different organelles here, but animal cells have no cell wall. That makes them different from plant cells. So if you were to eat celery or some fruit, it'll be, crunchy. That's because of the cell wall. But animal cells don't have that. Now they do have a cell membrane and a nucleus, and of course, both of them have cytoplasm. All right, so here's another thing I want you to copy. So you press pause and go ahead and copy this. These are the organelles. Now, there are more organelles than this. We have the nucleus. It contains the cell's genetic material, DNA, and this is unique to the eukaryotic cells. The other type of cells don't have it, the prokaryotes. They have ribosomes. Okay, prokaryotes have that. It produces protein and also hormones. The mitochondria. Mitochondria, this is a picture of the mitochondria. It produces energy and has its own DNA. You got the cytoplasm, which protects the cell structure and controls what goes in and out of the cell. And then you have the chloroplast. This is an organelle that contains chlorophyll, very important for photosynthesis. It also has its own DNA. This is a plant cell. How do we know? Well, it's got chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are found in plants. It also has cell wall. You can see how thick it is. This makes this a plant cell. These are skin cells. Skin cells, all right, these are animal cells because they have a cell membrane. These are blood cells. Red blood cells used to have a nucleus in it, but white blood cells, look how big their nucleus is. We're going to end with part 1 of cell structure right now.